Hi, it's Richard here from Intelligent Advisor IT Consulting with another in our long-running series about the example projects. It's 2024, we're in the Decision Service projects, as you probably already know. So I'm in the online documentation and I'm scrolling down on the page entitled Example Decision Service Projects, and we're now at the Pension Age Example Decision Service. So the pension age belongs to a family of decision services that include the insurance picker premiums, which we looked at a couple of weeks ago. This one is to calculate a person's pension age and could, as ever, be invoked from a policy model to determine a value for different entities. As usual, all I need to do is I need to save the decision service JSON file if I haven't already downloaded it, and then go to my Oracle Intelligent Advisor Hub, the Projects tab, click Actions, click Import. I'll go and get the pension age. A word of advice: if you're playing around, put your initials in front of the imported decision service so you can recognize it and delete it later if you don't need it, and always put it in a workspace where you won't get in the way of anyone else. Let's take a look at the inputs and outputs. We have a date of birth, which is the only input, and we have the pension age, which is the only output. Let's import it and take a look. As we can see, this is based on an Australian web source, and we can see that we have a date of birth duplicated over 2 columns. You will remember from your decision service training, no doubt, that this implies that there is a range of values. So it's between this and this, the pension age is 65.5. Between this date and this date, the pension age is 66, and so on. So we can switch into live mode, and we can add our first and only input, which is the date of birth. So let's say 1953, 3rd of July, which kicks into the first row. So the pension age is 65.5 because we fall within these two. Let's commit the decision service. And let's go to Oracle Policy Modeling and create a new companion project, which we'll call Pension Demo. We'll go ahead and create a new entity called the person. And what we'll do, as always, is we will create the necessary input and output so that we can map onto this entity. So the person's date of birth, that's all we need. Out of habit, I'm just going to put in a public name in case I want to create a form or use this in a substitution variable on a screen. And then we have the output, which is the pension age. The person's pension age. Okay, there we go. Good. So now that we've completed this, we can create a new screen for our interview. We'll call it Person Pension Age. And we can create an input to collect instances of the person. And we'll throw out our 3 different attributes that we've just created. We'll switch into tabular mode and change some of these labels because they're a bit long. And we'll say this is the pension age. There we go. And finally, because I'm that kind of person, is I'm going to go back to the entity and change all instances of the person to the people, because frankly, I don't ever use the phrase, look at all the instances of the person. I say, look at all the people. There we go, add new person. Last but by no means least, of course, we need to go to the Rules tab and create a reference. To create a reference, we need to log into our hub. And in the reference dialog, we'll need to do 2 things. We'll need to, first of all, select our project from the list. And then we need to switch it to calculated for each instance of the person entity. At that point, we can then begin mapping to the attributes we created a moment ago. We created the person's date of birth, and we created the person's pension age. Notice how the auto-select or auto-suggest gives you the relevant attributes in your entity based on the type. Now we can click Save and our reference is built, and we can go ahead and click the debug button and see if it works. And we could create two people. One person who is going to have a date of birth in 1954, and one person who's going to have a date of birth in 1956. And we can see that different values have been returned for two different instances of the person entity using the same decision service, because we mapped the decision service to each of the person entity. Very useful to be able to reuse this without having to write different rules. Splendid. See you next time.